Hello class, this is week 7. This is the last lecture that you'll hear from me for this class. Next week, as a reminder, is week 8. There's no lecture and there's no Blackboard. Everyone will receive full credit for their Blackboard. Also, I just received an email saying that your course evaluations went out, so please don't hesitate to take that because anyone who does the course evaluation will get 10 points. I personally won't know what you say, but I can tell if you've taken the assessment or not. So don't worry, speak your mind, speak the truth about whatever you felt about this course or how you feel about ops, but I can give you 10 extra points for doing so. So I wanted to talk to you mainly today about the capstone. I know I went over it a little bit last week. We're just going to go over it again. I'm looking right here at the syllabus at week 8, and I wanted to go over some due dates. So I had mentioned in last week's lecture, accidentally, I said week 8, day 5 is when the capstone is due. However, I realize the syllabus says week 8, day 3. What I'm willing to do is, and the reason why we ask the capstones to be due earlier than normal assignments is because when grading is due. And since we have to read all of your capstones before we submit our final grades, it just doesn't give us a lot of time. So instead of it being due week 8, day 3, we're going to change that to week 8, day 4. However, if you want 10 extra credit points, you can submit your capstone on week 8, day 2. And I will give you 10 extra credit points just because that kind of helps me to start the grading process. If you can't do that, that's fine, no pressure. I know that can be very stressful for some of you. I know for a lot of you, this is not your only class and you have capstones due in all of your classes, so I completely understand that. I'm not trying to persuade you to do that if you can't. But if you can and you're a person who maybe has already started on this assignment, by all means, you turn it in day 2, you'll get automatic 10 extra points. But we'll have the due date be week 8, day 4, okay? So the premise of the capstone is to really see how you guys are taking what you've learned as far as theory and how you would apply it to a family, someone who, like we've talked about, maybe isn't a real person. Maybe they might be real people, but people that you don't know, a famous family. And then you're going to kind of break down how you would use the theory with them and whatever their problems can be. Now, what's helpful in the capstone is, because they want you to score at least 80%, is that you find good sources, right? We don't want Wikipedia or things like that to be your sources. We want journal articles, your textbooks, things of that nature to be used. And the paper in itself is worth 175 points. Now, if you're new to Cal Baptist or new to doing a capstone, I'm sorry, I hope I'm not giving you guys motion sickness here. I'm trying to scroll up slow. There's something called edit mode, and you guys have to turn in your capstone. I'm going to kind of click on this. Okay, I'm going to go to learning activities. I'm going to week 8. Okay, so when you're in edit mode, everything looks a little bit different. And I'll change that to say day 4 tonight. I'll do that tonight. Sorry, I'm getting private practice texts on here, so I apologize. Okay, so you're going to submit into TaskStream. Okay. So you'll upload your papers and you're going to submit into TaskStream. Why this is done this way, it's just the way we do the rubrics, the way that we're able to compile everything for the school. That's just how we have you turn in this specific assignment. It's really important. And that's how I grade. So I need to be able to see your assignment in TaskStream when you turn in the capstone. So again, If you have questions about that further, please don't hesitate to email me. It's a little different than what we normally do, but it's super important that you do that. Okay? Okay, so here's the capstone. Here's a rubric. Literally, when you turn in your capstone, this is what I'm basing my grading off of. So I know some of you are a bit concerned about this 80%. I know all of you are going to do really well. I'm not really worried. I know that doesn't make you necessarily feel better. um, so something that's important, all your papers in this course, in all your courses, should be, oh my goodness, I'm blowing up here, should be APA style. So please don't do it any other way, okay? APA format always should be APA format. So we're always looking for the biblical perspective, right? So based on what the information you've been given, what would be the integration? What would be the difference from a Christian worldview versus a non-Christian worldview? You may be able to use, well, you should always be able to use some sort of scripture reference to support whatever you're trying to explain. So that's huge too. We're looking for research. What does research support based on this theoretical orientation and how that relates to the group of people that you decided to use, whether they're fictitious people or real people, meaning like maybe you decided to use, like say for example, the Skywalker family. They're obviously not a real family. Some of you may have chosen to use a famous family like the Kardashians, real family with real issues. So we want to see, like, though, based on the theory you use, what does research say about this theory? You're going to clearly identify some of the techniques that are used in this theory, and see how that is applied, and again, and how this will help with change. So pick out a few techniques. We talked a lot about a lot of different techniques with different theories over the course of the past almost 7 weeks. So please look for some of the things from your books, look through journal articles, things of that nature, to see what you would like to use. I was even suggesting to someone, maybe it'd be best to pick a group of people that you want to use and that have maybe some really good problems. And based on those problems, think what theory really would work well with this. And as a result of that, that might help it to be easier for you. Because otherwise, it might be like you might feel like you're pulling things out of the dark. But if you kind of know who you want to work with, identify some problems, then think what model would really work well with this, what theory, then that might help you to formulate your paper. Just a suggestion, you don't have to do what I'm saying. But then you're obviously going to introduce the theory and what it's about, what is its perspective on human nature, how it has to do with personality development, things of that nature. And your textbook should talk about a lot of these things since each chapter of your book talked about a different theory. Obviously, it's important, this whole case conceptualization. It's a big portion of the paper. Right here, you'll see the point breakdown of each section. So the case conceptualization is the biggest portion. I believe at the end of each chapter, based on the different theories, there should be a case conceptualization. So the student thoroughly reviews the case vignette through the lens of the theoretical orientation. So based on the family you picked, you're going to look at this through that lens, including the therapeutic process and relationship techniques and interventions used to promote change. Included in the conceptualization will be a discussion of the ways in which the student would integrate the Christian faith into treatment, as well as the role cultural diversity and socioeconomic status play in the treatment. So you're looking at this from a big picture, and you're looking at this specific family that you're using, and you're looking, how can this work together with this model? How does this all come together? What techniques would you use? What model would you use? How would faith be integrated into it? What is the different cultural pieces that might play a role in it? What would socioeconomic status play into it? Things of that nature. And that's a big portion of your paper, okay? again, these other things are like leading up to this point, okay? And so they're like building blocks, like we're introducing the theory, we're introducing different techniques, we're talking about research about the theory, we're talking about the Christian worldview in this theory, and then we go into the family that we're talking about and how this theory fits with that family, what you would do with the family, what maybe challenges there might be with the family based on different situations, um, things of that nature. So I hope this is helpful for you. This is here, like I said, week 8 learning activities. Uh, it talks about the capstone. Like again, this is literally the rubric I use to grade. Um, I don't know if that makes you feel better or feel worse, but that's basically what we use. I am available to respond to emails as best as I can based on the questions that you may have. Um, Discussion board, like I said, everyone will get 100% on their discussion board week 8. No questions asked because I won't, I'll just be focusing on your capstones. Also, too, week 8, there will not be a lecture from me, so you don't have to worry about that. I hope that you found this class really helpful. It's one of the building block classes to this course. I hope I'll see you guys again. I know I teach a class week, or I'm sorry, week 2, section 2, another, but this class will be hybrid, so I'll actually get to be in person with people, which I really enjoy. I find it a lot of fun on Thursday nights, so I might have some of you in my class in a couple weeks. But again, I hope you enjoyed this course. I hope you found it very informative. I know it's a lot of work, but keep up the hard work. You guys have done really well. I really appreciate reading your discussion boards and just how into the discussion you guys have been. It is helpful when the things like that are going on in the classroom because it makes it more interactive. Um, and I think that's it. If you guys ever have questions about private practice or practicum, I know all of your professors would be more than happy to answer questions. I am also a person that would be more than happy to answer questions. Look to us as allies and support in regards to what your future looks like because we've all been in your shoes and have walked the path to get to your hours and to get licensed. And sometimes it doesn't seem like the easiest of paths. So if you need some encouragement or some help in that regard, please don't hesitate to email me. I'd be more than happy to help you or direct you as best as I can. So that's about it for this week. I just wanted to kind of highlight again some things about the capstone. I know I've gotten some questions. I hope this is helpful. Uh, I think it's not going to be as bad as you may think. I think it would be easier, particularly if you find a good group of people to work with, because then you'll be able to figure out a model and maybe what you want to do with them when you have a good sense of who they are, or maybe you really like a model, it really fits you, and you can make it work with no matter who you decide to work with, and that's great too. But that might be helpful for some of you to kind of pick your guinea pigs and then go from there as far as what techniques and models and theory you want to use with that. Okay? So you guys have a fabulous week. Hang in there. We're almost done. Again, capstones due week 8, day 4. So I'll change that on here right now. Have a good week. Talk to you soon.